it's Abby, and I'm thrilled to be back on a mission to revolutionize your approach to cooking in those cozy, compact spaces, be it your dorm, condo, or boarding house. In our previous episode, we delved into the amazing potential of the humble rice cooker. But today, we're cranking up the challenge a notch as we use a rice cooker to cook another one of our best friends in compact spaces, canned goods. These canned treasures are like magic in a can, especially when you're working without the luxury of a fridge. So, let's get cooking. Our first recipe is a soup, which can be an appetizer, a snack, or a side. And we are going to utilize the accessibility of canned sliced mushrooms and the stability and how affordable evaporated milk is. We'll just chop the onions into small dices and garlic. Ano po, kasi napagalitan po ako ni teacher. Rice cooker, then add your oil. You don't have to use olive oil, you can use any neutral oil. First, we're gonna saute the onions. Ako na lang sound effect. Galing, no? Just get something heavy and ipatong mo lang siya dun sa pot para dikit ka dun sa init. So we cook the onions until translucent. We'll add our garlic. Tsaga lang, guys. Now, we're gonna add our mushrooms. So, ang trick dyan, para shelf-stable na mushrooms ay use canned mushrooms. Just drain the liquid out and ganito yung magiging itsura ng mushrooms nyo. So, ang goal natin is medyo itusta yung mushrooms, but be patient. It's gonna take a long time. Mushroom soups, usually the base is any type of broth you'd like, pero I'm using chicken or chicken broth. And then, you're just gonna add flour. So, when you're making a roux, it's very important to cook off the flour or cook off the starchy taste ng flour. And now we're gonna add water. And to make sure you achieve your desired consistency, onti-onti lang yung lagay ng liquid. Optionally, you can add dried thyme. And then we'll just wait for this to simmer until that roux has reached its maximum thickening powers. Now, to make this a creamy soup, we're gonna add some form of dairy. In this case, para mas affordable and shelf-stable, evaporated milk. It's super creamy now. And at the very end, we're gonna season this with salt and pepper. Ang sarap. But, I think this would use some sugar. Ang sarap niya na. Okay. But, bread. How to make croutons with any bread you have. Just slice your bread into squares. Normally, you'd bake this or put it in an oven, or you can toast it in a rice cooker. Add oil, any neutral oil, again. And just add your sliced bread. And just toast them until they're crunchy. Garnish with more pepper and croutons. Let's taste. It's so creamy, it's very comforting. It's a good dish to cook when you're preparing for a good long study session. And I think the sugar did some magical things in there. And if you have some leftover ulam, especially if they're fried, this would be a great partner. Our next recipe is very dear to me because it's the first ever viral recipe I had on TikTok. It has pasta, shelf-stable, canned tuna, shelf-stable, and a few common ingredients you might already have in your pantry. Basically, we're just gonna chop onions and garlic as well. Our third ingredient is tomatoes. If you don't want your dishes to be super watery, you can de-seed or tatanggalin niyo yung seeds ng tomatoes. So instead of doing my original recipe, we're gonna do some tweaks to make it faster. So in a rice cooker, I've boiled water. Make sure to season your pasta water with some salt. So I'm using spaghetti. You can use whatever pasta you have. So we just cook this 75% of the way, and then later we'll add the other ingredients. So the approach for this recipe is kind of those one-pot pasta dishes from TikTok na nagtitrending. But what I don't like about those recipes is nandun lahat yung starch ng pasta, nagsistay siya dun sa dish. So meron pang traces ng starch dun sa flavor and also dun sa texture. So by diluting the pasta water by using a lot of water at first and then throwing some of those out later, we can control na very little lang yung starch na matitira dun sa sauce. So now we've drained off the water from our pasta, we're gonna put in all the other ingredients. And we're also gonna put in canned tuna. So this is tuna in oil. Just give it a mix. And we just cook this just until the pasta is cooked thoroughly. So those are the 5 ingredients. Sorry, hindi ko kinount yung salt and pepper. And this is very optional. If you have dried basil or fresh basil, you can also add that. And if you feel that your pasta is still undercooked and it's already getting too dry, you can always add some of the pasta water back. Let's taste. Can you believe it? An easy dish made easier with a rice cooker. You have your carbs in there, also your protein. It's extremely satisfying. The next dish will blow your mind. It's an ulam that can be cooked on top of your sinaing or rice. It's super easy and time efficient, pero hindi magpapahuli sa flavor. We'll start by chopping up garlic and some black beans or tausi and ginger. We're gonna marinate our spare ribs with all of these. Soy sauce, a little bit of vinegar, salt, pepper, a sprinkle of sugar, and lastly, cornstarch. And then we'll just mix it all together. And we'll just transfer this to a plate. So we have here white rice, and then we just have to watch this. Watch this, you have to wash this. Now cook your rice. And usually when you buy a rice cooker, they come with a steam basket accessory. So now is the time to use that. And in goes your marinated spare ribs. Now this cooks for around 30 minutes. Time to study. After 30 to 40 minutes, we're back. Let's check kung luto na siya. Now, garnish lang natin siya with red chilies and scallions or green onions. And if you're feeling a little extra, this will give this dish another upgrade. Let's make sweetened soy sauce. A splash of soy sauce, dilute with some water. To add some umami, usually would use seaweed, but we're gonna use all-in-one seasoning. And a pinch of sugar, maybe more. Then, usually before eating, you would just drizzle this all over your rice and ribs. Ang lambot ng pork. If you think this is gonna be expensive kasi meron siyang fresh cuts ng pork, just think you can feed 3 to 4 people with this recipe dahil sobrang malasa siya. Save room for dessert because this is a heavy one. We're making ginataang mais. I realized how easy it was when I randomly craved for it one midnight. I looked at my pantry and I saw rice and canned corn. We're gonna start with some glutinous rice. So, ang ratio na gusto ko for porridge or congee type of dishes ay 1 cup of glutinous rice to 5 cups of liquid. So, maybe around 2 cups of water, around half a cup of coconut milk. And we'll just cook this hanggang maging lugaw siya or most of the liquid has been soaked up by the rice. Make sure to stir it constantly para hindi masunog yung ilalim. And once you've reached your desired consistency, pwede na natin siyang timplahan ng sugar and salt. Give it a taste. That's perfect. When you're satisfied with the taste, we're gonna add canned sweet corn. It hits the spot. This nostalgic, heartwarming, comforting feeling of eating this, hindi ka makapaniwalang it's so easy to make and it takes just a few ingredients. And if you're missing your family or nagdadrama kayo, nagpapakasenti kayo dahil bago lang kayo sa dorm or ang hirap ng school, miss ko na yung nanay ko at yung luto niya. This is it. It's delicious. And that's a wrap for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed and learned a few more additional tricks into cooking your canned goods with a rice cooker. I'm eager to hear from all of you out there, students, professionals, anyone navigating the world of compact living. And if you have questions or ideas about maximizing your limited kitchen space, don't hesitate to drop a comment or suggestion down below. Until next time, keep those rice cookers ready and those creative ideas flowing. Happy cooking!